Okay, Edie, welcome back for part two. Part two, free of technical difficulties. Here we are. So, how are you?
I'm good. Glad to be back. We're doing this.
We're doing this. We're doing this. So, there were like three themes from what you had talked about through your initiations that I really wanted to deepen into and touch on because there was such gold there. So, the first one being that struggle with self belief and the image dysmorphia. And this is something that I feel like so many people that are on their self development journey, their leadership journey, their spiritual journey, they struggle with this maybe more than anything else,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
It's the who am I to do this? Who am
Mm.
I to claim this, building of this beautiful legacy? Who am I to claim wealth when my ancestors never had wealth? Who am I to be healthy, to be happy, to be in love, right? Like that relationship part is that's
Mhm.
intertwined in it too. Like, am I worthy of love? Can I allow myself to receive that, right? So all those themes, I do think that I I really would love like everyone to just be more real and more raw and honest with going through these things because it happens at every level. And I think you would probably agree. It doesn't just like get washed away. It's like we meet it at certain levels and we kind of vanquish it and claim who we are. And we're like,
Right.
yeah, I can do this. And I see my gifts and I see what I have to offer the world. And then things will happen that kind of like boom can knock us down and can create that wobble again. And so there's a journey, right, with consistently moving through that. And so what would you say to women that are currently in that struggle?
Mhm.
Like what was the kind of key piece that allowed you to move through it and like keep going in your mission?
Yeah. Yeah, this I've been battling another little troll from that kind of whole image dysmorphia thing just recently. And what I recognized was making it so that I just could not move forward was that I was judging myself for feeling it. Like like it was almost like the judgment of the thing was worse than the thing, right? And so I was in this place of like, okay, like I should not feel this. I should not be here. And I was also telling myself, I was making the decision to align with and aligning with the belief that until this thing was completely gone and eradicated, I could not move forward. I couldn't invite in more clients. I couldn't have more clarity in my relationships. Like nothing else could happen unless this was vanquished. And so that was the case because I created that reality because I said stop to everything else, you know? And so I think for me, and that is, it feels like the root beneath the root oftentimes is the judgment and the narratives we ascribe to the thing. I think there is a baseline level of health and wellness to get to around like this whole image dysmorphia and self-belief thing. Like I've dealt with depression and suicidal thoughts, right? Like it wasn't just about the root beneath the root, like just the self-belief itself was the thing to be worked on. But I feel like when we get to this place where it's not this life or death or deeply like wounded place, but it is something that keeps on coming back. I have noticed in myself that it is my judgments and my perceptions about me still dealing with this that are what is keeping me stuck. And so I had this moment. My friend was sending a voice note, and she voice noted back, and she was like, "You're enough. You're enough. Like you can have all these things that you're desiring to bring into the world. You can do these things." Even with this, even as you are, reparenting this part of yourself, even as you're providing that nurturance that you didn't receive and that has created this lack of self-belief, like even as you're working on this, like, but the instead of focusing on, okay, I just need to believe in myself, maybe I zoomed out to focus on, can I believe that even in my doubts I can do the thing? And that was an easier thing to grasp and move through for me, because then it moved into a more tangible realm, which not everything needs to be tangible, but it became more tangible. Can I fix this thing and still have this doubt? Can I finish this piece of the project with my client and still have this doubt? And I can. Fancy that, and in that, it builds that confidence as well, because there is some confidence that we just will not get unless we do the thing. There's some lack of confidence that is legitimate because we have not put the reps in. And for me, I'm like, okay, I'm getting more reps where like I have like this mother wound is like really blaring for whatever reason, maybe seasonally, maybe something else, maybe what I'm dealing with my girls. But do I have like, can I still move forward while honoring myself? But like, can I trust my own inner fortitude? And as I do it, I see that I can. And it becomes a different conversation. And it's not like she said in my mind, but it's like, no, these are the facts. I can do this. Like, I'm giving my brain the data it needs. I'm giving my body the data it needs. So I'm not sure if that was super clear. But that's, I think, what has been helpful is trying to remove focusing less on attacking the root, like what the instead of trying to force myself into self-belief, zooming out and seeing if I and establishing belief in myself that I can still do the things even with the doubt.
Yes. Yeah. That really makes me want to cry, honestly, because it's so beautiful to just truly accept yourself where you are.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that we often struggle with the most. And this has been like the biggest thing for me too, is seeing myself like, we can be so critical of ourselves.
Yeah.
And, we could do a whole podcast episode on the reasons why we are so critical with ourselves.
Yeah.
But I think the most important thing is truly, how can I serve? So any times that I've been in that frozen state where it's like, why would I even launch an offer? Because, I don't know enough yet, and I'm not embodied enough yet. And, I'm not fully in my power, and I'm not emanating the right frequency.
All the things.
It's like, those things are important. Yes. And they hold truth. Yes. And if you obsess over, am I in the right frequency state? You're not going to actually be able to move. Right. So what a gift it is to me is when a client reaches out in that moment where I'm frozen, like I'm not posting, I'm not, I'm like what, why, you're in that stuck state. And then a client reaches out and it's like, hey, Tara, I could really use your help. Can we do a session? And I'm like, yes, tomorrow, let's do it. And then after the session, and I'm just like restored through the lens of my work, because I see my value, because I just helped someone move through something really powerful. And then they reflect back to me like, oh my gosh, this is so what I needed. And thank you so much. And it's not like we can only find our truth through external validation, but we do need one another.
Yes. We're humans. Yeah.
We really do. Like, if we're like, it doesn't matter, nobody's opinion matters. It's like, okay, but what about that person's opinion who sees the gold within you, who's reflecting that back to you, whose life has changed because you offered your services, because you shared your light with them, right?
Yeah, right.
So I do think that the more we move through it, the confidence builds, and it builds and it builds. I don't think that we ever go back to square one. Like, it's kind of this like, So I think that, not that we have to share like every depth of our, despair online or anything like that. But I do think that it's important to share that the journey is life. Like, this is it. Like, we keep moving through things. It's not, well, I'm just completely in my power now, and nothing's ever a struggle for me. It's like, no. So I love that you shared that. And then the second part was the relationship and
Mhm.
the challenge of your marriage, and then seeing the beauty in your relationship now. And that shapes who you are, right? So it's like not just in romantic relationships, but in family dynamics and in client relationships too. Wherever there may be something that is really stealing energy from you, stealing life force energy from you, where you know it's not in alignment anymore, you know it's there's a glitch, right? Like something
Mhm.
is not quite right, and it's time to close the door or place a boundary or have an honest conversation or let something go. That's going to shape like dramatically how your mission moves forward,
Yeah.
because it's kind of like, okay, your divine path is calling you to a certain place of truth and honesty, right? And so if you're staying stuck in some sort of relationship dynamic that is not serving you anymore, it's also not serving that other person anymore, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And it's like a sluggishness that happens in the timelines where it doesn't matter how hard you work on your business.
Exactly.
It's like you got to clean up all of these other areas, right? So I love that you spoke to that as well, because I do see that with some of my clients, there are relationship dynamics that are just throwing a wrench in everything,
Mhm.
because it has to be looked at and it's not a comfortable thing, you know?
Not at all. Yeah. Yeah, I will say I'm like ruthless about it. Ruthless about it. And because I've seen, and this is marriage specifically, but there's so many different kinds of relationships, but don't we all know women who have been 20, 30, 40 years in something that has been stealing their life force? I can't even fathom how they're still alive, you know? And for some women, they didn't have the choice to leave, you know, and I'm grateful for the opportunities we have now. Um, but yeah, it's like the mission is too important to get mired in um wrongful self-sacrifice and martyrdom in the negative sense, you know. And it is hard to look at those things, but that is like if one can develop the muscle of assessing one's relationships and having the conversations, and I'm not saying cut everything and everyone off at the drop of a hat, but being willing to dive into the discomfort of, is this actually working for me, and untangling all the attachment and inner child narratives and all these different things, and having the conversation, um, and deciding from that point, you know, whether to stay or whether to go, whether it needs to change or shift. Like that is like one of, I think, the biggest and most powerful skills you can have as a human being, period. And as a business owner specifically, because it comes in every way with clients, with partnerships. We get into a space and then we just sit there, right? We get stuck, we get frozen, we start counting the cost of, oh, well, if I rock the boat too much, but we're giving away our power, we're giving away pieces of our destiny, you know. And I think that will still do good work, but we do have to reconcile with the fact that, like, you know, there is less that we do. There's less that you will accomplish, point blank, period. You will still be used. It'll still be a beautiful life. It's not meant to induce shame. But if you want to do more, like, this is a muscle and a skill that needs to be cultivated and developed, because what takes people out is very rarely like, oh, I didn't go to this event this one time, or I didn't do the strategy, or I didn't hop on this trend. It's like, no, I slowed down because I was afraid of this person's judgment, or I didn't say this thing and own this level of leadership because I knew my mom would say, who do you think you are, you know, or this or that. Like, relationships are often our biggest catalysts and also our biggest hindrances. And so hopefully it doesn't sound too clinical. I love the people in my life. Like, I'm very committed relationally, and I can be, because I've been so intentional about cultivating relationships where it's deeply mutually beneficial, and where I would want them to call me out if I am not supporting them and they feel the same, you know. And it just changes the game when you don't have all this static around you and in you and, you know, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's not too clinical. I think we have to look at things from a multi-dimensional perspective, right? So like mental, logical, practical, and how does this make me feel, emotional,
Yeah.
and then the subtle energetic realms of like, it can be so interesting. Like nothing appears to be wrong, right? Like,
Yes.
but something is just not right. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like, it can be just where it's almost imperceptible. And then it keeps sort of like tagging you, like, Tara, take a look at this, take a look at this.
Yeah.
You're like, no, everything's good, everything's fine. It's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
can you like drop deep into your womb and say everything's okay? It's
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah.
okay, no. The wisdom within me is saying something needs to be looked at. And
Yeah.
so with relationships, I think that it's really important to look at, um, is this relationship bringing me deeper into who God made me to be, like what I came here to do, the person that I am meant to be. And sometimes it's like in relationships, it could be that, okay, this person that you might be dating, for example, they're a great person. You're
Yeah.
happy, like things are good, you're having fun. There's nothing detrimental about them,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like good guy. And
Mm-hmm.
then it's like, okay, and are they bringing you to
Yeah.
your highest destiny? Are they there to, help you build your legacy?
Right.
And sometimes it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, it's almost like it might actually be too pleasant, too easy. Like you might need a
Mm-hmm.
man that actually challenges you in a different way, right? Like it
Mm-hmm.
depends on the person.
Yeah.
And it might be that you're called to be single for a certain amount of time. Like I've been single for, gosh, I've lost count. I've lost count of how long. And I know that during this, transformation that I've been on, where I did not have any sort of spiritual anything up until about 5 years ago, and then have come to know God deeply since then. uh I don't see that I really could have been in a relationship during this time.
Yeah.
And I know that the solitude was needed for me,
Yeah.
and that it may not be that way for everyone, but I think it's important. So at some point, I really just accepted that.
Mm-hmm.
There was no like, I'm calling in my king. It's like, no, like that's like when the time is,
Mm-hmm.
I will know.
Yes.
And I do feel that that is coming for me, but I'm very much just like not. I think that the Tara of the past who needed to feel loved and really not even just loved, but accepted and seen, and, the parts of me that really couldn't do that for myself.
Right.
I needed a man at different times to just make me feel like I was wanted, right? And it's kind of like, I feel like God had to dismantle that, where
Mm-hmm.
it's like, nope, Tara, you're actually perfect, just as you are
Mm-hmm.
on
Yes.
your own, because you're not really on your own. You
Exactly.
are in union with God. And it's like build that fortification so that now going into a relationship in the future, I was going to say, I won't sacrifice myself in ways that I did in the past. We'll see. I will set the intention because I think we always learn
Yeah.
through these experiences. But yeah, let's just say I will no longer let myself be the woman that needs to heal the broken man.
Hmm. That part. It's a very rough place to be in.
Yeah. And I think so many of us as
Yes,
healers,
exactly.
as women who are templated in that way,
Right.
we want to heal the wounded man, and we see the beauty within them and their potential,
Mhm.
and we see how much they've gone through, and it's like we just want to fix them.
Yep. Hmm.
We just want to love them and fix them and hold them, and then it's like, oh, and my life force energy is just,
Yeah.
you know. So I think that that needs to be recognized, because there are, when we look at things quantumly, there are timelines that need to be cleaned up. And then there's architecture of our ancestors that is still playing a role through our DNA
Yeah.
that needs to be healed. So all of that to say, um, every part of who we are plays a role in our mission, and we have to just embrace it all. It's like the healing is never done, and also like we're fully healed, right? It's like both.
Right.
So okay, the last thing I want to touch on, and this will be like our wrapping up on this topic, is destiny swapping. So you
Mhm.
mentioned destiny swapping. I want to hear what you have to say about this, because this is like an important key.
Yeah. I think I might have mentioned that this past like year and a half has been a crash course in energetics for me, just learning it trial by fire. And I don't remember I think I mentioned very briefly destiny swapping. So in my marriage, uh, my husband came in with a lot of debt, um, and just life situations where, oh, young Edie, I'm like, baby girl, like she was like, I got this. I can fix it. Exactly. I can clean it up. And I came in stable, with reserves well in my body, just rec- still navigating internally, the cult I had left in college, but on track to do well. And getting divorced, like because of some of the situations in the marriage, um, like I helped him establish a business, for example, that has done really well. But there was no contract in place. There's no, for me, understanding of my value as the feminine and the creatrix, right? And so it feels like a destiny swap. And I think I might have said, I know it's not, because my energies returned to me and all of that. But just seeing, he's got the glitzy glammy business and the things, and I'm in a lot of ways picking up the financial rubble, from that relationship. And I remember just sitting and thinking once, like, man, like it feels like we just switched. Like where I was at the beginning of our relationship is where he is now, and then where he was, I am now. Except the difference is I can hold and circulate money, and he struggles with that. And so it's not even a true destiny swapping. So, but I think like that is what happens when you attach yourself and allow yourself to be siphoned off, from by somebody who themselves is not stable or whole or is getting the support they need. And I'm you would know so much more about this than me, Tara, and so I'm really curious about your insights. For me, what I've just seen has been, the natural result of, that energy loss. And it's harsh, and I'm not saying the people, like it feels like parasite and host kind of thing, and I'm not calling him
Yeah.
a parasite. But it like is that kind of situation where inevitably like the host is losing energy, and the person who is sucking the energy off is going to that they're sucking the energy to fill and to create, right? Like it's energy is not created or destroyed, it's going somewhere. And that's why, I know people who have invested similarly into their partners, and when things end, the partner is now elevated and they're able to enter new echelons because of the energy that was taken. And I think this is getting now into my conspiracy theories kind of thing. But if you even look at Hollywood and some of the the mechanisms of relationships, and you can see specifically for women some of their before and afters of being with certain actors, and like certain actors who specifically like a young age range, like I'm looking at you, Leo, like there's very interesting and sinister things happening
And I'm like,
yeah.
chill.
We see you, we're clocking it,
Yeah.
energetically, where that's happening. And I think especially as women, there is a particular radiance. And again, back to that creatrix, even if you don't physically have a womb anymore, if you're not, don't have kids, don't want kids, but just there is something in our energetic and spiritual makeup where there is just this ability to create and to multiply. And when we are in spaces where that's being siphoned from, and and we are emanating without awareness of our own boundaries, and like almost like a view only document, right? You can emanate and it's view only, but like we don't have those permissions set on, it's on edit, and we're allowing people to come into the document and take we see what I think we typically call destiny swapping. And I do think there's people who maybe it's not conscious, but see somebody and see the trajectory and are like, I want to attach myself to that. And I don't think that's always negative, but it can be. So those are my little ramblings on destiny swapping, but I'm super curious to hear from you, like what your perspective is on that.
Oh, yeah. So many chills. Yeah. This is a really good topic to talk about because it goes into some really, really demonic, dark areas, which a lot of people, they don't want to go there. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to see the world from that lens, right? And I think that it does take great strength that builds over time to be able to hold both, that life is a beautiful gift,
Yeah.
and full of limitless potential, and there are extremely dark things,
Yeah.
and evil, and
Yes.
targeting of light leaders. So whew, yeah, I'm like, I feel it, I feel it, I feel it. So part of what I have been initiated through with basically seeing these dark fields and these demonic things face to face, basically, has shown me truly what we're up against when we're trying to build a world that is free of these things, that is no longer siphoning, extractive, and all the things. Now, the important thing is that the light has already won, right? And we're all part of making that happen. So light leaders, and when I use that term, it's essentially just that we are leading from the soul level. We are leading from the light within. And we're committed to our purpose here as beings of truth, as paving the way for nothing but love, right? So there are forces that have tracked us since before we were even born, that know who we are and what we're here to do and how we are going to affect the world, the people that we will heal, the people that we will influence and affect in positive ways, the light that we will bring and harness and anchor into the golden grids of this earth. And so, not to come into life in a paranoid way, but so much of it is subtle, and they work through other people and they work through relationships. And I mean, I've known people where literally the most parasitic human being was placed in their life, and you know, the consequences of some of this are suicide, are death, are complete destruction of someone's heart to a point that they don't recover. Like those are things that I've seen, right? Now, when we say like a parasitic person, really often what we're dealing with is a human that has been affected by dark forces. You know, it's not necessarily really them,
Exactly.
it's other things working through them. So, you know, these are hard topics to talk about. And often, you know, I think about like in my content, it's like, okay, should I just start talking about demons every day? Because it's like, that's a lot of what I help people with. In fact, just this morning, a client, she had an entity attachment that was affecting her digestion for years. That was, you know, and it was so beautiful in the session because I simply helped her to see that it was there. And then I just guided her through reclaiming her power and authority that she herself can cast it out. It's not like I had to do it for her.
Yeah.
I just showed her it was, and she could see it. And she was like, uh-huh, yep, I no longer consent.
Mm,
Bye-bye.
right.
And we closed up her auric field, and now that is done, complete. And what she felt afterwards was, oh, I know who I am. You
Mm,
know, it was a beautiful reclamation. So you know, we could feel like victims, and that's where the programming that, you know, where does it come from? We could go into negative alien agenda and all this kind of stuff.
yeah.
Sometimes it really doesn't matter, but just recognizing, okay, there is victim, victimizer,
Hmm.
narcissist, empath programming. And if we are kind of living in those energetic programs, if they're running in our system, we will continue to loop.
Hmm.
You see it with people that always have narcissistic partners. It's
Yeah.
like one after another, and
Hmm.
they're lovely people, they're kind people, and it just keeps happening. And it's like, okay, something going on there, right?
Right.
And so I do think that with relationships and destiny swapping, there's a particle there that it's like the enemy wants you to feel like you've been robbed.
Mm, hmm. Hmm.
The enemy wants you to feel resentful of
Mm, hmm.
that entire dynamic from your marriage. And it's like, you're the one who's wiser than that. You're the one who's like, yeah, no, all of that happened for me,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
because you have reclaimed
Hmm.
everything that had been taken.
Yeah.
So it was never truly taken because you just had to see that it was misplaced and bring it back.
Hmm.
And then again, you reconfigure your field. So now you're not pouring out your life force energy,
Right.
you're stabilized, you're emanating.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's just, you know, there's so much to it, but I do think that the key is nothing that happens, no matter how hard it is, keeps you being a victim. It's like, yes, you may be wounded. Yes, you may be down for a time,
Hmm.
and you get up and you heal.
Yeah.
And then you use that as fire for your mission.
Hmm.
And that's how you lead. And so I do think that yeah, there's just I'm making mental notes of like 5 more podcast episodes.
Yes, the world needs them.
Yeah. So just letting all of that land now. And really, for anyone that's listening, I think that the keys that might be here for them are what energetically may be happening for them. It could be that they heard something in your story that just kind of like sparks something where they're like, ooh, I'm going to attune to that a little bit more closely. And that there are people that can help them with all of these types of things. So, you know, we're basically like energetic experts, right? Like you can look at someone's field and their business and be like, oh, here's what's going on, and here's what we need to do in the tangible to get things. But you're seeing it through the energetic landscape because you have that depth, you have that attunement.
Yeah.
So important. And you're going to express through who you are to ignite within them whatever may be. I kind of see it like we have these, like bass and treble on like a stereo, right? With like the different levels. We all have these different levels in our field of our own attributes. And for someone who may feel like their business is chaotic, they're not sure what they're doing, they're throwing out offers here and there, and maybe they're seeing clients, but maybe they're going through freeze states and all the rest of it. But they know that they have gold within them that needs to be shared. Maybe some of those dials are just like not where they need to be. And you're the one who can be like, okay.
Yeah, it's a little mixer, sound engineer. There we go. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly. On a energetic frequency level, you can make those adjustments and help them get their business tuned up and their field along with it. Mm-hmm. So I love that. And I love being able to share with people who you are, what you do, and explain it in like a storytelling way instead of a bio, like right. It's like, you're so much more than, I help you do blah, 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 blah. It's like, yes, you can write it in really like beautiful words, and it's more of the soul recognition through listening and feeling. So I'm just happy that I get to showcase you and hear your stories, because it's really powerful. It's really powerful.
Thank you so much. And likewise, like it's so fun to dive into this and weave in business, but really everything, because we're holistic, we're full beings, right? And
yeah,
we're entering the age or returning to the age where it's all interconnected. And that's what people are hungry for. They're tired of compartmentalizing. So I appreciate you giving me and others moving forward the platform to have these conversations and to be real and honest and raw. And like you said, hold the beauty and delight of life, but also talk about some of the harder things that, as people see that, recognizing that, okay, it's not always going to be here and I'm not alone in it. And there are steps I can take, like to be okay. Like I can breathe through it. I'll be okay. She made it. If she can make it, I can make it, And so I think this platform is so important.
Yes, that's it. That's it. Shining a light for one another.
Yeah, big time.
Whew. Thank you so much, Edi. We will definitely have to have you back on again because there's a lot more topics to talk about. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, and blessings to everyone listening.
Thank you.
If I can find the right button. Here we go.